Come on. Oh, nothing wants to play, huh? There we go. It's just me drawing. I'm not quite sure who you are. You are literally one of the only people watching. Yeah, probably a bot. I mean, if you're not a bot, that's fine. Uh, thanks for joining and everything. But if you want to be here, be here. If you don't, that's cool too. My weekend has been okay, Dustin. How about you? I had kind of a rough week, rough ending to my week. It's been super stressful. And Thursday night was not a lot of fun, but I mean, if you're a bot, that's fine. Bots need love too, I guess, right? So I worked on this page on Wednesday and did not get to this panel. So I thought I would work on it a little bit today or right now. Earlier today, I did these two sketch cards that commissions for one person. One was for her daughter, and one is for the daughter of her boyfriend. So I had drawn this one along with a couple of other variations of it uh, last week, early last week, but this one I actually did fully and completely today. So Dustin, are you gonna put the print up anywhere? Dustin is chaotix. The the game, like your gaming room, you're gonna paint that up. Do you know what color you're gonna do it? It's 11 by 14. It's not a super standard size, but still pretty easy to find a frame for. I still don't know when I smudged that because, like, after the stream on Wednesday, I um I was taking a shower and I had like this big blotch on my arm, and I thought it was a bruise. So I was kind of tripping out, but it washed like right off. It was kind of funny. But that's like what happens when I'm like reaching up over things and it like gets in those awkward angles. Like, which gift? Or like what was the gift for? I mean, not that there needs to be a reason for a gift, quite honestly. Okay. I just watched a new horror Christmas movie. Came out a few years ago called Christmas Bloody Christmas. Uh, and well, happy early birthday. My mom's birthday is in how many days? It's not the 17th, but we're celebrating it tomorrow. I'm not quite sure why we're celebrating it tomorrow, but I mean, my mom wants to celebrate it tomorrow. That's cool. God dang it. These lines are going to look terrible. I'll just blame it on the house being trashed. It'll make it look more realistic. Ugh. I'm thinking I should put something in this picture frame, but I don't know if it would end up detracting from Vanita, who is the focus of this panel. So, a lot of fun with this page. It's like a large scale picture frame that in Vanita's house that got like the whole house got trashed by some home invaders. And so, like, I was not drawing the lines very straight. But they, when they ransacked the house, they like, pulled things off the walls. So, in a way, it's kind of okay because it gives it that, like, looks like it's been trashed look. All right. See you later. Got to remember to go into the yard and trim down some small branches for a display I want to make. You know, like a weird thing about um, like if you're doing an Instagram live, um, you can't have another device showing your Instagram live. So, like, if I was doing the live with my phone, I can't log into my computer. Somebody posted that they found I forget if it was Frankenstein's monster or if it was the mummy, or if they said that they picked up one, but there was more, but they had found some at Ross too. I don't remember if they were in Tucson or if they were in the Phoenix area. It was on like the Facebook AZ horror community. I need to get some more frames, and I need to get some more of those little like foldable wire um, stands to like put pictures on and stuff for my slabs. Um, because I got some more books that I want to post up, especially on my um, my kaiju display that I might actually change. Like if I am able to make a decent setup with one of the branches that I cut down, I may change the scenery like that's directly behind where I'm sitting from kaiju um, to more horror based. Yeah, I remember when people were doing the mystery boxes from NECA. Ned and I pooled in to go halvesies on a horror box. But dude, they took like 3 weeks to like process the order. So I canceled it. I was just like, I want my money back. And there were people who were like, you're supposed to give them time to process it. And I'm like, if you have all this stuff in your warehouses, like why does it take you 4 weeks um to like throw 15 or 12 or 15 um toys in a box and then ship it? Like, because I was watching some of those like those mystery, like the NECA mystery box unboxings, and they seemed really cool, but I mean, the chances of you getting a bunch of stuff that you don't really want is pretty high, you know? And that's fine. I figured like if I got a bunch of stuff I didn't really want, I could always just like resell it or whatever and just keep a couple of figures that I got that I wanted to keep. But in a way, I'm glad we got our money back just because it's funny how like some of those work where like there were people who had done like a handful of them. Like they did a horror one, they did a sci-fi one. Um, they had like a pop culture one, like where they had like a bunch of like they weren't Funkos obviously, but like they had stuff that was like that. And I was just like, you paid like $120 for this? Like, and some people who were just like big mad at the stuff that they got, they were like, this isn't horror, this is sci-fi. This isn't sci-fi. This should be under horror. And I'm like, all right, well, and they did all this stuff so like you can't do returns to the pieces, and there were people who were mad about that, and I'm like, dude, you're getting like essentially, 200 or so dollars worth of merch for like 100 and whatever. Like that's a pretty good trade-off. I was more frustrated by like how long they were taking with the process. Like it didn't seem like they should be taking them that long. And there were other people who were like, "Oh, I got my box already." And I'm like, "Well, that's great. Where the hell's my box?" And their customer service left a lot to be wanting too, because I had to reach out like multiple times, and then I think I had to threaten to like reverse the charge on my card before they finally canceled the order. Like it was annoying. Oh, my box. I want it now. Oh yeah, yeah. What was it? Uh, JG Wentworth, the guy who would like, uh, uh, they would basically like buy out your settlements. Or, I want my money and I want it now. I remember those. That was a funny commercial. It wasn't that long ago either. That was like what, the 2000s or the 2010s. Jesus, 2000s would be a while ago, but it's kind of nice. Like Chainsaw Man, the Reze arc movie should be coming out on Crunchyroll early next year. Supposedly this week, the you'll be able to like go on like Prime and Fandango and stuff like that, and buy it digitally or rent it. I mean, I can wait. I'm not like, you know, I when it comes out, I'm definitely going to buy it in 4K cuz I just really enjoyed it. and I need to buy more volumes of the manga because I read up to volume 7 and that's all I've got. So I'm gonna have to get more. And then I'm still on volume 3 of Dandadan, but I've got 5 volumes. I didn't get a chance to read any of it. Um, I mean, I'm more than halfway done with volume 3. I just haven't had a chance to read this week. I meant to read some at lunch on Friday, but I was in a weird mood Friday, so. I don't like this version of this song. Ugh. It's like an acoustic and it's all slowed down. That's a tricky one. I don't see that being stopped by this administration's like Federal Trade Commission or Federal Communication Commission. Like I honestly don't see them stopping it. Um, I think it's a bad thing for sure. Um, because then, what happens, right? Like we've already got Disney owning, the ESPN app, Hulu. Um, if Netflix ends up owning, like, I want to know how the hell a company like Warner Brothers Discovery that was just purchased a handful of years ago is like what like what did they say it was like 70 billion in debt? Like how does that happen? Like first I want to know how did Discovery have the money to purchase Warner Brothers? Like that just seems weird. And then how do you go from purchasing an entity like Warner Brothers with like its vast catalog of movies and shows and IP, and within 5 years, because I think that merger happened like 3 years ago. It wasn't even that long ago. And they're already like billions in debt. Like, how does that happen? Do you not have a plan for that? Like, don't you have people in charge of that kind of stuff? Like, they were like in debt, but they're still producing like all this specific like exclusive content, right? It's going to go through, and then then I can cancel my HBO Max subscription, and then I can cancel my um, Disney and Hulu subscription, and I'll stick mainly with physical media, and I'll keep Shutter, and I'll keep Crunchyroll, even though they're fucking shitty human beings. Um, but it's kind of like comic books and Pokemon and pro wrestling, and like things don't change until the fans demand that it changes. And that means people have to stop like subscribing, and they have to stop buying products, and they can't just sit there and complain about it. They have to actually act. So, Jesus. So, yeah, 3 years ago, there's that merger, and it's already, there's another massive buyout of the same company, because I think they're only buying Warner. I don't think they're buying Discovery. But I mean, that's kind of like what you do, right? Like, I mean, Stevie Richards isn't like a financial analyst or anything, or an economist or anything like that. But him and James Romero on his YouTube channel have been talking about like what TKO's been doing for the last couple of years. I mean, and I know TKO and WWE you know, just merged last year, but he was saying how like the William Morris company that bought UFC from the Fertitta brothers, um, like before they merged to be TKO, and even in that time, they've been buying up like all these entities, right? Like I think they bought out Pro Bull Riders Association. Like what the fuck? Like stuff that's not even related. And Stevie is speculating that in the next year or so they're gonna yeah, I mean, it depends on what the contract is, because they still have to honor those contracts. And if I remember correctly, I think AEW just signed a new contract with HBO. I can't be 100% sure, but I thought they did. But you never know. That may not happen. I wouldn't be surprised if, in that same vein, Netflix makes a play to try to buy AEW. I mean, whether or not that would happen, I don't know. And I don't know if that would be allowed to happen either, because um, overseas, they are the WWE network, right? Like, they have like all the shows and everything. Um, so I'm surprised that they haven't developed their own streaming service. I mean, they have um, the Ring of Honor app, right? Like, where you can just watch all of like the Ring of Honor the entire library. But they may do something like just try to uh, like buy shares in it or something like that, or get exclusive rights to like pay-per-views or what have you. I do think it's kind of bunk that like you have to still, you know, um, did you watch the Ariel Helwani um, Tony Khan interview? Dude, that interview was so funny. It was so funny and it was so frustrating. Tony Khan would make a great politician because he doesn't answer any questions. Yeah, dude, it is a frustrating watch because like if I had been Ariel Helwani, like I would have lost my shit. But at the same time, like I think you have to expect that from somebody who's running a company like that. Like, I'm not going to answer any questions. Like, he would ask like what the future was for Britt Baker, and he's just like, "Oh, I love Britt. Britt's great," but he wouldn't answer anything. And there was another question. I think it was about Chris Jericho, and he goes, "Oh yeah, Chris was huge. He was a big reason why we were so successful initially. Like, I love Chris. I respect Chris. I think he's been great for the company." But um he didn't say like if contracts had expired or if they were going to expire or anything. And I know like you don't necessarily want to reveal any of that information to like your potentially to your competition and stuff like that, but it was just so politician like it was so fucking annoying. My my dad is a journalist. He's been a journalist his entire adult life and part of his childhood, and um, was he was like the moderator on a show here through like Arizona Public Media called Arizona Week, and he did an interview with then um, God, I forget the name of the governor at that point, but she was horrible. Um, and he was asking her like, okay, so you're telling us that you have all these plans to bring in all this like industry and business into the community, like into the state to like stimulate our economy from all these like big companies. Like, can you tell us some of the names or even the industries? Like what industries are supposedly coming into Arizona? And she was just like, well, I can't say anything about that right now. And you expect that from like a politician. And he said I guess he had seen part of the economic plan or whatever, and it was to offer tax cuts to these businesses, even though research at that point had shown that big companies, like especially industrial companies and stuff, would rather have like a ready to go workforce, like people who knew what they were doing and were trained up on stuff, than have the tax cuts. And he said, so why are you going with tax cuts if most major industries and companies would rather have a workforce that's ready to go? And she didn't even answer that. She was just like, well, we're going with the tax cuts. And it's just like, I get that companies saving on like their bottom lines and stuff like that is a big thing. And that's why like WWE does those like massive lists of releases and stuff. But like your profit is made based on what your bottom line is, but whatever good or service you're providing. Like if you're making a widget, make the best widget you can, and you have a good, marketing plan for it, and make the you make your widget better than the next company makes their widget. But it's always just like, well, we want to start off with a lower bottom line. Like I wish I could get tax cuts for what I'm doing. Be friggin' awesome. I'm actually pretty happy with how this panel's turning out. I was worried about it because this line I originally drew for the wall wasn't straight. Um, and then I kind of F that up, but throw some shading on it. With how popular that ghost face was, I should probably draw another one. think I'll have to make a list of, like, my favorite, like, holiday movies, like, my favorite, like, winter holiday movies. Santa's Sleigh got posted up um, Shudder just now. So this is one more way to watch it. I remember seeing that on VHS back in the early 2000s when, my mom would take me to, I think it was Hollywood Video, like, after my chemo treatments, like, I would go home and I would rest for a little bit, and I wasn't driving at that point, and probably even if I was, like, wouldn't have been a good idea with how fatigued I always was, and there was up at, the, asshole of the universe, Alvernon Grant, there was a Hollywood Video, and we would go there, and I would pick up different movies, and I swear I remember seeing Santa's Sleigh there, and I never picked it up at that point, but I remember buying it on Vudu, and, it's bad. It is, like, really bad, but it's, like, so bad it's good. Like, out of a 10, I would say it's like a 2, 2.5. Like, it's such a bad movie. Yeah, the movie with Goldberg, where he, like, kills a guy. I think he kills a guy with a menorah, and the opening scene, when he shows up and he kills that entire family, everybody in that scene is Jewish, which is kinda funny because they're not having, like, it's not a family having, like, a Hanukkah dinner, they're having a Christmas dinner, and everybody in that scene is Jewish. I don't know. I just, like, I was like, "Wait a minute." Plus him showing up at the end of the movie at the airport in, like, literally in his Goldberg gear. Yeah, Silent Night, Deadly Night is a classic. And if I'm just going, like, horror movies, I mean, Silent Night, Deadly Night, Santa's Sleigh is friggin' so bad. Um, Christmas Bloody Christmas was decent. The original Black Christmas was, um I watched that a couple years ago, and it was super unnerving. Um, I think it was, 2019? 2019, I think it was, um, because I had just gotten my, first appearance of Wolverine, or my Incredible Hulk 180, not 181, um, and ended up, watching it one night. Like, I think I watched it on Christmas night and had all the lights in the house turned off, and it was just so quiet outside. Like, it was so unnerving. Like, it was pitch black in my house, and just, like, the voice on the phone, it was good. Like, I mean, because that's how you wanna do a horror movie, like, a movie that's, like, even then was, like, 35, 40 years old or whatever, that was just makes a horror fan like me just like kind of feel like, "Oh, I really wish I hadn't watched that before it was time to go to bed." Jack Frost is a great one. It's another really crappy one that's maybe like a 1.5 or a 2, but it's so bad it's good. Um, I heard about the remake. I don't know. It depends on where you can watch it. I may watch it because I do like that. I haven't even seen the entire series. I think I've seen up to 4, and I think there's like 6 or 7 movies. Not to mention the remake. Although the second movie could kind of be considered um, like a green movie because like the vast majority of that movie was just reused footage, right? I don't know if you ever saw God, what was it? Universal Soldier the Return with Goldberg. Dude, it was so funny. He had like the worst. Did you just watch the remake last night or did you just watch Santa's Sleigh last night? Because the first movie is good. The second movie is, I mean, it's mostly like just reused footage from the first movie with like little spots intercut. And then the third movie, oh, Jack Frost. Oh my God, that movie is so amazing. It's like, how did somebody, like, how did somebody say that this was an okay movie to make? Like, it's just so bad. Hmm. All right. I think this one will be a good one to work on. Got some good contrast. Yeah. So that scene was the only so Riff Tracks put that has that movie on their catalog so you can watch the movie and watch them make fun of it. Um and they don't normally edit movies like at all. Like they don't cut out scenes and stuff, but that was a scene that they cut down some. I bought that on DVD at San Diego Comic Con in like '07, '08, I think. But I sold it years ago. But I bought it from the Full Moon booth. Um, and they had like a deal where you could get like 3 movies for like, I don't know, it was like 30 or 40 bucks or something like that. Um, and I ended up getting that and a couple of other movies. Because there's how do I say this? He assaults her with his carrot nose sexually. This song Manic Monday is so funny because one of the lyrics is you woke up late and days like this you wish your bed was already made. Well, like you're a friggin' adult. You don't have to make your bed. I sure as hell don't. Like, yeah, yeah. But the second movie takes place at like a tropical Hawaiian resort type thing, and he shows back up. And I think there's only been the 2 movies too. I don't think they've made a like a series out of it. So you can pull lines really well, pushing them or pushing them across that way. If I'm pulling down, I can pull lines really well. Dude, that's just such an easy like an easy title to use. Like I don't think because there's like the Jack Frost, like the cartoon of like the actual impish character Jack Frost. Um, there's the Michael Keaton dad who dies. He becomes a fucking snowman, plays a saxophone, and then there's the killer snowman who's mutated from the serial killer Jack Frost. The hell did I do with his fingers? I have not. Oh no, I assumed so. Is it just like a super like gory flick? Trying to think of other really good um, horror Christmas movies, like, or even not good ones. Like, they always seem to revolve around like Santa or a variation of Santa. I mean, Krampus, it, that was a little different because at least it did something that was still within the festivities, you know. Keep rubbing my arm on that. Probably just do some really tight cross hatching on all the blacks in here, just so it stays somewhat consistent. I have that's like it was a little too visceral for me. I'm not really big on the revenge movies. No matter how like well deserved the revenge is, it just always comes off as um like as torture porn to me. Like the kind of like the remake of I Spit on Your Grave and then all the sequels. Um I mean, the original Last House on the Left was, like, just so, low budget, it came across like it was, um, more real. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure, like, when I was younger, I would have really been okay with those movies, but I don't know, just, like, some of it just seems like, I don't know, so unnecessary at times. Right. I mean, but even so, like, it's for me, it's I don't know, it's kinda like the Terrifier movies, it just seems like it's shock for the sake of shock, like, it's not really made for the sake of, like, telling an actual story. And I mean, I'm sure there's people who would argue like, well, horror isn't really, it's a genre that's meant to shock, but I mean, I would argue Martin Scorsese has made the same film like 30 times in his career and he's praised for it and it's always like somebody getting shot in the back of the head, you know, like I don't know if Martin Scorsese has ties to organized crime or not, but it's kind of like, why do you keep making the same movie, dude? Like, that was like when he was like criticizing superhero movies that they were doing really well, and he's like, that's not cinema. And like, nobody's thinking it's going to get, best picture or anything, but, let people like what they like. I mean, if somebody wants to watch Last House on the Left or whatever, I mean, that's cool. It's just definitely not for me. I think one of my friends had no idea that Wes Craven directed the first Swamp Thing movie, and it was really funny when she found out, she was like, "What the hell?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you didn't know that?" And she's like, I guess not. Yeah, he's done a ton of stuff. Like some of it's been really good and innovative, and some of it's been like, okay. Eh, any movie with Mark Wahlberg can't be that good. I really don't like Mark Wahlberg. I think he's a crap human being, and I don't think he's a very good actor. First half of his career, he couldn't act without taking his shirt off. Second half of his career, he's trying to like, I don't know, get a like an Oscar or something. It's just like, dude, but movies aren't really making money anymore either. Like in the theaters, like the only way they're making money is if they were so low budget and word of mouth got out and people just went to go see it and it made a ton of money. But yeah, like there's so many movies now that even look good and they're not making money. Like, I'm sure the Chainsaw Man movie didn't make money. I'll have to look at that box office and everything, but Hollywood has trained people to not go to the theaters anymore. So, and people can talk about how the pandemic did that, but I don't think that's the case. I think Hollywood legitimately trained people not to go to theaters because, um, like during the pandemic, like that first year, 2021, all of 2021, all of Warner Brothers movies were released simultaneously on HBO Max, which killed their box offices. Um, and then the other crappy thing is like movies. Yeah, I think we talked about this on one of the last streams, but yeah, they do like the movies come out way too soon. They're in theaters for like a month, if that, and then you know, so I kind of see when the merger goes through because it's gonna. I see Netflix taking a lot of the projects that Warner Brothers had been working on and just sending them directly to streaming. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. There's definitely movies I want to see in the theaters. Um, like when Godzilla Minus Zero comes out, like I'm down to go see that. Maybe even the next Legendary uh, Godzilla Kong movie. Um, I mean, there's just some movies that you really have to see in theaters. like this Christmas Bloody Christmas movie, yeah, it was bad, but it had some like interesting premise to it. Like it was a store Santa robot that went berserk and started killing people, which is, admittedly stupid, but it had some like good cinematography at moments. The soundtrack was good. It was kind of unconventional. I think I need to use a bigger. The heck? Have you seen Willy's Wonderland? It's not bad. It honestly isn't. Like Nick Cage does a really, really good job in the movie. Like he literally has no lines of dialogue. I mean, it's from what I understand, it's very like FNAF, but um, which I've never seen nor have I played. Um, but I watched it a few years ago, I think on Hulu, and I was really impressed. And I'm not a Nicolas Cage fan. Like, I don't think I've liked Nicolas Cage since like the 90s with like, Face Off and Con Air and stuff like that. His mullet in Con Air was glorious. Con Air had a lot of like really like it was a strange ensemble cast. I mean, you had I forget the woman, the wife, but I mean you had Nick Cage, you had John Malkovich, you had Steve Buscemi, you had Ving Rhames, you had John Cusack, Colm Meaney, uh, Dave Chappelle, um, God, I forget the guy who played Baby O in it was really good. Um, yeah, I could probably just make her solid black and it would still work. Fucked up right there. I gotta try to fix that. Paint pen. Pen. Gel pen. Gel pen. No gel pens. That's weird. Here, gel pens. Where are you? You're not a gel pen. You're a regular pen. And you are a tiny maraca. All right. Banana Splits movie. Is that animated? Is it a horror movie? The hell did my gel pen go? Horror comedy is always good. When it's done really well, horror comedy um, might be like my favorite, second favorite subgenre under like um, survival horror or slasher. All right. I think that is it for me tonight. Try to work a little bit more on this and maybe get that worked out when I can find my freaking gel pen. I have no idea where it went. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to try to keep on my schedule of doing live streams on Wednesdays at 5:30 Pacific. So I'll probably be working more on Pleasant Falls, maybe doing a sketch card or two. But if you'd like, tune on in. See you later.